Representative Ron Reynolds, I am so happy to be talking to you. I actually know you before
Yes.
you started to come into this kind of national conversation with Texas Democrats breaking quorum. I've known you for many, many years. So to see you up there in Illinois alongside Governor Pritzker and with all these other Texas Democrats, number one, I'm just so proud to see you all up there. But number two, it's so surreal. We were just talking off camera about how this feels like a movie. I mean, is that what it feels like to you up there?
It does. It feels like a real we're living through a nightmare. This is Trump's America, and this is so sad, particularly today on the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that really created a tremendous opportunity for people who look like us to hold public office because it broke barriers that existed, like Jim Crow laws of poll taxes and literacy tests. So this is a phenomenal day, but unfortunately, we woke up literally this morning to a bomb threat at our hotel that we had to evacuate because of the kind of foolishness in the era in this MAGA climate that we live in. So yeah, it would seem like a movie, but it's real. And that is why it's so important that many of my colleagues and I continue to make good trouble in the spirit of those who came before us that broke down those barriers. They fought, they sacrificed, they did everything they could to protect the freedoms that we enjoy today. So not on our watch. We can't go back.
Mhm, mhm. And, you talk about the bomb threat, which is just so unbelievably shocking, and
Yes.
not only the escalation of just how quickly things got to this point, but, I've been watching you've had your colleagues, your Republican colleagues, the Attorney General, Ken Paxton, say things like, "They should be hunted down. We're gonna hunt them down."
Like
And
we're effing animals or something, right? Like
Mhm.
like the only time I heard people are gonna hunt them down, you're talking about some freaking animals, or you're talking about a fugitive that's on the run that is a threat to the safety of the community. We're not last I checked, none of us committed any crime. We're not felons. We're not on the run. I mean, this is the kind of vitriol from a out of all the people, our freaking criminal attorney general Ken Paxton. Get the f out of here, really, Ken. Like this is what you're doing as the attorney general, but obviously we know this is all to appease their daddy, President Trump. We get it, we understand because remember when Trump was floating that nonsense of voter fraud in the election that was stolen. What attorney general went to argue before these frivolous motions, none other than our own Ken Paxton, that Texas' own Secretary of State said the election was safe and secure. So this is they're lapdogs for Trump, and it is sad that we have leaders who are not really leaders, but they are bowing at the knee to their master, the authoritarian MAGA leader Trump himself. And I'm proud to have stand with Democrats and people like you that are willing to speak truth to power because you've done it with your voice. You've called out those Republican racists, those people who want to trample upon the rights of black and brown and marginalized LGBTQ immigrants. You've spoke truth to power and you've been targeted. So you know what it's like. That's what we're
Mhm.
doing. We're standing up for the rights of the minorities who really happen to be the majority when you look at it, especially in Texas.
Mhm. Well, it's not just that. I think that there's a lot of really big misconceptions that are out there right now about the Texas Democrats. I know we've seen Republicans say things like, they boarded private jets and they flew to Chicago. And so I really want to get it on the record here of Texas Democrats who are going to do this. You're normal people. You have day jobs because you're not full-time legislators.
Tell them
Like
how much money we make so they don't know. They may not know how wealthy we make a living for with the state of Texas. Can you tell it
Yeah,
this trivia? Do you
you
know?
to be a
Oh,
lawmaker, you make $7,200 a year, in the state of Texas to
right.
be a member of the state
Yes.
house.
Yeah. And for those who are doing the math, that's $600 a month. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm, and so, I
Yeah.
mean, what does that look like, for you and your colleagues? I know you have a lot of colleagues who have
Sure.
children who have broke
Yeah.
quorum, like, what does
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
look like for y'all?
I'll tell you what it looks like for many of us, including myself. When I knew that we were going to break quorum, kids go back to school. I have 3 kids, 1 2 are in school. They were going to get ready for high school. So I said, "Yeah, of course, I'm taking you school shopping." I was trying to take them to save money on tax-free weekend, which is this weekend. I had to say, "You know what, kids? We're going shopping today because unfortunately, I may have to leave tomorrow." This was Saturday, we left Sunday. And so I had to change my plans with my family because I wanted to be there, but I knew I couldn't be there if we broke quorum. So I did took them to school shopping. So many of us have husband, wives, spouses, significant others, children, and we've left them behind, right? Many of
Mhm.
us have jobs that actually pay our income that we can't do, but that's the sacrifice that we're making because the stakes couldn't be more important. It is important for us to make those sacrifices, even if it means being away from our loved ones, being away from our jobs, our livelihood, because the livelihood of millions of Texans and, quite frankly, America is at stake because if the Republicans are able to get away with this with Texas, they can do it in other states, and the balance of power is so slim that the Republicans could have a slim majority to keep the House of Representatives. I don't want Speaker Mike Johnson to keep that gavel. I want someone, Hakeem Jeffries or some other Democrat, to be the Speaker of the House so they can hold Donald Trump accountable with subpoena power. They can do things, get those damn Jeffrey Epstein files released. They can do things to have some checks and balances so they don't keep rubber stamping President Trump's MAGA agenda. So it's so important that we do this in Texas, but also encourage other states across the country that we fight fire with fire. I know,
Mhm.
like you, we're sick and tired of Democrats being wimps. We're playing by the rules, being the nice guys, while Republicans don't have any rules of engagement. So I'm sick of us bringing knives to gunfights. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. People, the American people particularly, want to see us fight. You've heard Senator Cory Booker talk about it. Most recently, former President Trump, former President Obama talk about it. And I echo those sentiments that it's time for us to take the gloves off and go mano a mano. That's the only way you stand up to a bully is you hit him in the mouth. President Trump, we are standing up to your bully tactics.
Mhm. And you talk about this being a national movement and Republicans wanting to do this in other places. We've seen Democrats, notably, Kathy Hochul in New York and Gavin Newsom in California, respond saying that if Texas goes through with this, that they will follow suit. And the response to that has been we've now had two Republican members of Congress, Kevin Kiley of California and Mike Lawler of New York, who have introduced their own legislation that would ban mid-decade redistricting and would limit partisan gerrymandering. What is your response in seeing these Republicans in Congress, who same Republicans who voted against HR 1 in 2020,
Thank you.
they're now
Hello.
coming
Thank you for
out?
pointing that out. Yes. Yeah, I think they're a bunch of hypocrites, quite frankly. I mean, we can speak candidly. I think that they're cowards. They never really stand up to President Trump. That's why he passed that big, ugly, awful bill. That's why we have seen in Texas that we passed vouchers because President Trump called the Republican caucus before the vote and told those rural Republicans and had them vote against their own interests. So I'm fed up. I've had enough. Enough is enough. These Republicans are doing too little, too late. Uh, I'm not. Uh, I'm not involved, impressed with their rhetoric. They know that they're only trying to save their own ass right now. But they had a chance to pass HR 1, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, and they could have done that. But they used the filibuster in the Senate so that they couldn't get that legislation passed when we broke quorum back in 2021. So I have no sympathy for these cowards.
Hmm. I couldn't agree with you more. And then one other thing is a lot of the Republicans who have been responding to this, not necessarily the lawmakers, but more of people on the outskirts, influencers, independent, journalists, partisan hacks, whatever. They've been posting photos of the current congressional maps of Texas online, saying like these are the gerrymandered maps that Texas Democrats are fighting to keep. So you were a member of the Texas legislature when these maps were passed back in 2021. So could you clarify who actually controls that process and who has the final say in how these maps are drawn and approved?
Absolutely. It is the Republicans. The Republicans were in charge then, just like they're in charge now. The Republicans were the ones that ultimately drew the seats that we have currently. The same seats that they're now saying were drawn with a racial bias when they said on record in a trial in El Paso that I testified in that they were race neutral. So they can't have it both ways. They've gotten caught in a lie, and now they can't have it both ways. So these are the Republicans have been in charge for decades, and they are now their lies are catching up. But Donald Trump, they don't care about the truth. They will bend the truth. They will break the rules. They don't follow the Constitution. And so hopefully the courts will start following the law and the Constitution. Because if they do, they will reject this violation of the Voting Rights Act because it is a racial gerrymander. That is what it is. They are definitely disenfranchising Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia's 29th congressional district, pairing the 18th district and the ninth congressional district currently held by Congressman Al Green. And let's not be lost on the fact that there's a vacancy for the 18th because of the death of Sylvester Turner. And prior to that, Sheila Jackson Lee, that Governor Abbott refused to put on the a special election in May when Sylvester Turner passed away in January so that the people could have representation. So this is awful. I'm just so fed up and sick of it. It is so disappointing. And that is why it's incumbent upon us that we speak truth to power and use your platform to educate people. Because a lot of people don't realize that is Greg Abbott that could have had funding, for example, for those Kerr people. It could have been prevented if they would have approved those alarm systems and other mechanisms for that area. And on top of that, he didn't need a special session to through executive action to take action to give them the resources. So Governor Abbott has been in charge, the Republicans have been in charge, and they failed Texans and they put people's lives at risk. So let's call out these hypocrites for what they are, and let's not allow them to continue to pass the buck when they were the ones that were in control.
Mhm. Yeah, and there's plenty of video proof showing of our Democratic members begging Republicans at the start of this special session, begging them to do anything about flood relief, and they didn't do it. They instead focused on redistricting. So, just my final question to you is, what's next? How can people who are paying attention and watching, how can they help you and other Texas Democrats who are in this fight breaking quorum right now?
Well, they can. First of all, we want them to be engaged. We want them to vote in record numbers in the upcoming elections. We want them to join their local party, their groups that are advocacy groups out there. We want them to register voters, to volunteer, to make phone calls, to knock on doors, to give donations, to get behind candidates that are fighting for them. But that's the only way that we can change this course. If we have people that are in have skin in the game. This is a contact sport, so they can't be armchair quarterbacks. They can participate. You don't have to have a lot of money. You could donate $5, $10, whatever, $1. You don't have to have a lot of time. Whatever time you have, some leisure, you can make phone calls from your home. You can, if you don't have money and you have time, you can go out and volunteer and knock on doors. So there's always a way that you can get involved, but do something. Be a part of this movement to change and take back our country. So these MAGA extremists, we can boot them out and put people over politics and special interests that don't just cater to the billionaire class of folks so they can get more yachts and private planes and tax breaks, uh, and so they can give, more lavish, parties for their friends. But get access to healthcare for people that don't have it, like Texas has the highest number of uninsured, to have rights for immigrants and LGBTQ and women have access to a safe abortions. That is what we need. We need that right now, and we need it now. On our watch, we have the baton now. It's up to us to fight back. There is nobody coming. There is no one coming to save us. We're the one. So we have to be that cavalry. We have to be that vanguard, and the time is now.
Mhm. Absolutely. Representative Ron Reynolds, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yay! Thanks for having me.